Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to start working with the views for the API. And as we did before in the other app, we're going to create a new file. We're going to call it api.py. Perfect. First, let's import the model. So server models, import server go here, server server category. Oops. Server category, test channels, and category. Okay, we imported all the models. Now, of course, let's import our serializers that we just created. Serializers. Let's import our server category serializer, our server test channel serializer, our this one too, and server serializer, and the server detail serializer. Okay, perfect. So here we're going to have the Django REST stuff. So let's import from REST framework. Let's import API REST framework views. Let's import API view. And let's import the permissions. Let's import from response. Let's import the response. Import the status. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the server API. So let's call this one server. We're going to create a class API, and we're going to pass API view here. Okay. And for permissions, permission classes will be permissions that is authenticated. We want to make sure that the user is authenticated for this type of request, because the user should be like logging to make like server request. And so see here in the server API, we will be able to create servers. So we want to have parser classes will be, we need to import it first. So here from REST framework, that decorators, right? Let's import the API view. I'm going to use it later. Permission classes that we just have here, and the parser classes. So for the parser classes, we're going to have like multi-parser because we want to like upload picture and all of that. So let's import from REST framework that parsers. Let's import multi-par parser, and of course the JSON parser. Okay, so here we paste that here and ready. Okay, so now let's start with our get function. Self request, and then just format So every time we make a request to the server, like here, we're gonna display. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna get all. We want to get all the servers. So servers, server dot objects. Oops, objects that filter, and we're gonna make a special like a special query here. So let's import Django DB.models is import Q, because we want to get the servers that we are a member or that we just created. So both of them. So we're gonna make a query where members equals the request user. So here we're gonna search servers. We're going to filter the servers that we're member and the servers that we are, or the server that we are an owner, servers that we just created, right? So user, and then here just this thing. Okay, and I hope that makes sense. Servers object filter members that we remember, and in here that we're a user. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so now we have that. We have to this thing. Yeah, I think that, okay. So serializer will be the server serializer, of course. And we pass servers here. We pass that, and then many, because this is going to filter. So we're gonna have like many results. It could be 1, it could be 2, 10, whatever. So many 2. And this one is going to return response. Oh, this one should be response. It's going to return a response and then serializer that data. Very simple. We're basically getting all the servers that we're members or that we're an owner or a person that we just created. Okay. We got that one ready. Now let's make the server to a post, right? So post self request, oops, and then format. Okay. Start with the serializer, and then here we pass server serializer, and data will be request that data, right? Very simple. Request the data, and then we check if serializer dot is underscore valid. If it's valid, well, it will just continue. If now we're going to raise exception equals true, like we did before, and serializer dot save request user, because we're basically passing who created the user. And remember, in our serializer here, this one is read only true, so we need to pass here after we created the user. Okay, so we pass that, and after it's created, we're going to return a response of what is this? I'm going to return a response of the serializer data and a status. So the status will be status dot http underscore 201 underscore created. Remember? So that's created. We created that one. If not, we're going to return response with the serializer errors to basically know what's going on with this. And then the status, status dot HTTP 400 bad request. Okay, that's for our server API. Here we did a class where we can manage and the get and the post. You can also manage the delete and the update in this one. So now we're going to create the server detail, right? And here we're going to use it with the function. So we imported the decorators for the function. You need to grab the function with the decorators here. So let's call API view here, and this one will be a get. This one will be for get, and the permission classes permissions dot is authenticated. We need to make sure that the user is authenticated for each request. So user is authenticated. So here I'm gonna have server detail API. You can call it whatever you want. And this one will take a request and a foreign key. This will be the ID. Okay. So if request that method equals get server will be server objects.get, and then here we pass the APK, okay? And serializer will be server detail serializer, of course, and we pass server, just like that. Okay, very simple. So now we can here we can return. Can we make a response? So let's do this. So we want to, if you are a moderator or the owner of the server, we want like special permissions. So here let's make a like a little condition, right? So here let's check if request that user in. We're going to now check that if the user just making the request is in that moderators in the server that we just got, moderators dot all. So basically we're checking if the user is in that server in part of the moderators like group, or request that user equals server that. Basically here, if the user is in the server moderators, or if the user is basically the owner or the person who created the server. If that's true, we're going to create a variable here that will be true, a boolean, and then else admin will be false. Okay. So after we get that, we can now make our return response. Let's make it this way. So we're going to display the data, and then here we pass serializer that data, and we want to return it's admin. And if it's admin, we pass here not admin. Yep, very simple. So here we're returning the data, and if it says admin for this server detail. Okay. So yeah, we get that. Now let's create another API function. Let's grab it in the here with the decorator. And of course, we need to make sure it's authenticated for this type of one. And this one, let's call it server categories API, because we're going to have basically the check server category. Server category. So we're going to have like explore and check all the categories to check all the servers and all of that. So here, make a request. We'll take a request, and this will be pretty simple. If request method equals categories, will be server category, check, and server category that objects that all these categories we're going to create it through the admin panel, because we're going to make this one by default. No user can create categories. If you want to do it, it's fine, but these categories, we set this category. For example, this is a community, or this is a group of family, whatever, you know. The serializer will be server category serializer, and in here we pass the categories, and you guessed it, we have to make sure that we pass many true, so the serializer know that it's going to, that this was going to have multiples. And then here we return respawn serializer.data. Perfect. Okay, so now we want to, we can get the categories. Now we need to work with the servers in that category. So very simple. Let's create a class for this one. So servers in category API. And of course, as we did here, we're gonna pass API view, just like that. And here, let's get the permission classes. Just like that, it's authenticated. And first, let's create a function called get object. Okay, this one will return, will take PK, and we're going to try, and this one will return server category. Oops, that objects that get PK. Okay, and then set server category that does not exist. We're going to raise we need to import that one. Let's go to the top, and in here, this is from Django. So oops, from Django.http response, let's import HTTP 404. Okay, we're gonna raise a 404 like a section here, because we're trying to get, when we click on a category, we're trying to get the category right here. That's where we get this object. Okay. So now we have the get object. Now let's prepare the get. So self request. Also, we're getting a PK that we're going to use here. Okay. And format. So let me put it this way. We're making a request, a get request with a PK. First, we pass that PK through this function so we can get the server category, and it will return the server category object here. And you'll see how we call it. We're searching for a category. So category will be self. We're here in our class. So self, we call this function, right? Self.getObject. And what we're getting here, we're getting the PK. So we pass the PK that we get for the request to get the object category, right? That makes sense? So after we get the category, we get the servers that are in the category. So server objects that return server category, that's the field, will be category. Okay. And we're going to order, we're going to order by date. Let's just put it like that, by date. So yeah. So now we're gonna get like multiple like servers. So let's just create a pagination for pagination. Okay. We don't have pagination. Let's just go to the top. Let's create a response pagination that we can use in like any of our classroom models here. So let's call it an response pagination routine. Okay. So class, let's call it response pagination. And in here, well, we need to import. Let's go here and from res framework pagination. Res framework provides a pagination too. So it's very handy. So let's import page number. This is the type of pagination I'm going to use. Pagination. Page number pagination. So here, response pagination is pass this one. And page, let's get a new variable here. Page query. Just basically the parameter. The P, right? Page size. We're gonna set 10. And for page size, query parameter. Oops. Will be page size, and the max page underscore size will be 10. Okay, we set up our page number pagination here, and we can use it here in servers in category. So here for pagination, remember, so here paginator will be the response pagination that we just created. And in here, as results will be paginator dot paginate underscore query set. And remember that we're getting like many like servers. So servers, we pass the servers, And then here we specify that there will be many of them. So true. Okay. No, that's for the query set. We just need to pass the request. Yeah. Or that's for the results. But for the serializer B server serializer, we're going to keep working with the server serializer, and then here we pass the results. And then here we specify that will be any true. And in the context, we pass request. Okay, so basically we're paginating the servers here with the paginator. And then here we pass the request. So now here we can return the paginator dot, very important, get underscore paginated underscore response. Okay, that's part of the paginator. We're not using the response. We're using the paginator response. And then here we pass the serializer dot data. So it creates a pagination for our like filter here. So page 1, it will contain 10 items, and then the next page will contain 10 more items, and etc. Okay, we got that ready. Now let's create another one. This one in the class, and then let's call it server search. That's what I want to search for servers. So this one will be a pretty simple one. We're gonna use one of the generics like views here from REST. So let's call it for the server search, right? So from REST framework, let's import genetics. REST framework, let's import filter. Okay. And now here, let's go to the bottom. And as I said, we're going to use a very simple, like generic, like view from REST framework. So here, it's my generics that list API view. It will be a list API view. And then here, this is the structure. So the query set, we need to specify what will be the query set. So we're getting server.objects.all. And then serializer. This will be server serializer, of course. And then the filter backends will be filter that search filter. Very important. And then here, the search fields. Here we're going to specify the fields that we're going to search that query set. So we're searching for in the titles and in the description. Let's say that you're searching for a server or a community that has to be with like medicine or your favorite anime. You want to search those parameters in the title and also in the description. Okay. Yeah, so I think we have everything ready. Yeah, so I think, yeah, in the next video, we're just going to start working with the front end. And this one will include this and the server to create servers, and then to explore, and then like search and all of that, because we have like our API ready. And so yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next video.